The usual Trump haters have been quick to dismiss the US president's summit with Russian leader Vladimir Putin in Alaska. Now, sure, Donald Trump often falls victim to his own over-promising, predicting he'd end the Ukraine war on day one and so on. But everyone in the free world should be grateful that Trump is involving himself directly in trying to end this war, resisting the isolationist urgings of many US conservatives. Trump's critics often sound like they'd rather that the war continues in Ukraine as a testament to the US president's failure. The reality is that while the war tragically goes on, the high-stakes diplomacy should give us cause for optimism. Without the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky involved, of course, the weekend summit was never going to deliver an immediate ceasefire or peace deal. And sure, we all hoped for more obvious progress. But while there's no transparency on what, if anything, was agreed, the talks are not over.
We'll speak to you very soon and probably see you again very soon. Thank you very much, Vladimir.
Next time in Moscow.
Oh, that's an interesting one. I don't know. I'll get a little heat on that one.
Yeah, he sure would get some heat on that one. But yes, the optics of this thing were sickening for anyone who recognises what a murderous dictator Putin is. Here was this brutal ex-KGB operative who he's reshaped, of course, Russian democracy to become an authoritarian state run by him alone. And here he was being feted by Trump, complete with a ride in the beast. And then there was the Orwellian backdrop of pursuing peace, displayed for a leader who has unilaterally invaded a peaceful neighbour. But, you know, this is the way of diplomacy, and especially the transactional form of leader-to-leader dealings that are so favoured by Donald Trump. Still, Green left media, including our own taxpayer-funded ABC, of course, are keen to erase any hope for peace and blame the ongoing war on Trump.
Vladimir Putin has had a complete victory in the heavyweight title fight in Alaska.
Really? A title fight metaphor? And complete victory to Putin? Is that the best the ABC could do? It's lame and it's shallow. I'm old enough to remember when the Russian-backed rebels shot down MH17 over Ukraine, killing 298 innocent people, including 27 Australians. And back then, the ABC slammed then Prime Minister Tony Abbott because he vowed to confront Putin.
Look, I'm going to shirt front Mr. Putin. You bet you are. You bet I am. I am going to be saying to Mr. Putin, Australians were murdered. They were murdered by Russian-backed rebels using Russian-supplied equipment.
Yeah, how the left and the ABC slammed Tony Abbott then, but now the ABC slams Trump for not being tough enough, and it declares victory for Putin. In reality, of course, what matters here is the outcome. And as leader of the free world and of the world's largest economy, Trump still holds the power hand here. As we speak, Zelensky is heading to the White House for a meeting with Trump tomorrow. And joining them will be the leaders of the EU, NATO, Britain, France, Germany, Italy and Finland. Clearly, if there is a realistic chance for a peace deal, this group will need to provide security guarantees to Ukraine. And if there's no prospect of a deal, this is a group that could decide on substantial new measures, including heavy trade and financial sanctions that could intensify the pressure on Putin and Russia. Anthony Albanese joined a virtual hookup with those leaders to discuss options, and he remains committed to Ukraine.
Australia's position's been very clear from the beginning, which is that Ukraine sovereignty is important, because this isn't just a struggle about Ukraine. It's also a struggle for the international rule of law.
Trump's last White House meeting with Zelensky was a disaster, the frustrations playing out in front of the cameras and in front of the whole world. This time, the Ukrainian leader will have moral support from the Europeans, and they'll all need to agree on options to deal with Russian territorial claims in eastern Ukraine, prospects or not of NATO membership, and of course those security guarantees. The bottom line is that Putin cannot be allowed to have a complete victory from this invasion. Trump is the one who needs to make sure that doesn't happen, and it's a good thing that the US president is invested heavily in finding a resolution.